Hey, I'm Jesus, and this video is going to be about the most expensive inventory in CSGO, an inventory that we know exists with absolute certainty, but also an inventory that no one aside from its owner has ever actually seen, at least in its modern form. It's without a doubt the most valuable inventory in the history of the game, but it's also been hidden beneath an effective conspiracy of silence, all of which leads to its owner, a figure currently known as HFB. Now, before I start, a quick thanks to my sponsor, CS Money, a quick, easy and safe skins marketplace, more about them later. Now, HFB is one of the most mysterious characters ever to exist in the CSGO skin scene. As the story goes, he's never added anyone aside from one or two middlemen, he's never spoken to anyone, and no one even knows exactly what's inside his inventory. In fact, the only hard information you can find about him nowadays is a lack of information. Skins on the CSGO database with no known owner, skins that are generally believed to have ended up in HFB's inventory, and if the rumours are true, this guy may well have the most expensive inventory in the history of the game. So, this guy's a bit of an enigma. There's lots of questions, but not many clear answers. If there was one thing he is definitely known for, it's for refusing to talk to anyone. As this guy puts it, quote, "The probability of him talking to you, even accepting your friend request, is pretty much non-existing. You would have to bother some of the people who are buying and selling skins for him, and I'm pretty sure they would never want to put you in touch out of respect for him." Another collector, Xmercy, managed to track 4 scar patterns worth about $150,000 these days to HFB's account, commenting that, according to legend, he may well have the most valuable inventory in CS history. Or, in another thread, McLaren comments that HFB has been private for years and, reputedly, has a stacked inventory full of souvenir Dragon Laws and factory new Crimson Webs. So, it certainly seems like, amongst the people who remember him anyway, that HFB is a bit of a mythical figure, an incredible lost inventory from the early days of Counter-Strike. But you're also probably noticing some cracks in my narrative as well. For one, McLaren implies that at some point this guy's inventory was open, and Xmercy seems to know where HFB is from, the United Arab Emirates. And this is actually one of the really weird things about HFB, the fact that he's kept himself so mysterious, despite a fair bit of information getting out there over the years. It's quite an incredible accomplishment, and the way he's managed it is certainly novel, but we'll get to that. First of all, I want to focus on his inventory. Now, this inventory definitely was public at one point because during late 2015 you can see it on CSGO Exchange, but there's not much in it at the time. The best thing in it is this number 2 pattern AK case harden, but this is likely a bug with Exchange because there's also a couple of screenshots from the time and they show a very different picture. Now, Xmercy gives us a brief summary here. A lot of non-dupe stat track factory new Crimson Webs, plenty of souvenir factory new Laws, most of the best condition number 1 blue gems, the no star vanilla glitch Karambit, a bunch of unapplied Katos, a bunch of number 1 stuff, a bunch of low float high tier shit, factory new gloves. Now, I've heard conflicting reports about whether he actually has Katos or not, but the rest of it is definitely there, and you can see it by how these skins went missing on CSGO Exchange. For one, HFB loved Crimson Webs, and not just any Crimson Webs, StatTrak factory new Crimson Webs. He's easily got the biggest collection of them in existence. That includes 3 non-duped StatTrak factory new Karambits, the 3 best condition ones in the world, and 4 non-duped StatTrak factory new M9s. 4, yes, 4 of these things, because apparently one just isn't enough. And he also has 4 StatTrak factory new butterfly knives, non-duped. I think I must have missed some of these when I did my video on super rare knives, but the point is, these 11 knives alone would already be the most insane collection of knives in the history of CSGO, and that's only some of the Crimson Webs he has. The whole collection of these things alone would probably be worth well over $500,000 these days, and that's only a small part of HFB's inventory. Another thing he really liked was souvenir factory new Dragon Laws, and he had at least 3 of them. I can confirm that 3, at the very least, definitely belonged to him. There's also 3 more without owners on CSGO Exchange that probably belong to him as well, although I can't 100% confirm it, and he's definitely got a few minimal wear ones for good measure, although again, I don't know exactly how many of the missing skins here are his. All up, it's still probably a couple of $100,000 of souvenir Dragon Laws in there, although we don't know for absolute certain. And finally, HFB is also a pretty big fan of blue gems, and not just the 4 scar patterns we saw earlier, he also liked his knives, including a number 1 blue gem pattern for the Karambit, the lowest float StatTrak Hiko pattern for the Karambit. There's also 2 other missing Hiko patterns on Exchange, but I think HFB only owns the StatTrak one, and at least 1, and possibly 2, of the number 1 blue gem pattern for the M9 bayonet, and the lowest float number 1 blue gem pattern for the standard bayonet. Now, this is only a sampling of the blue gems HFB has. Some of these knives would be worth $50,000 on their own these days, and although we can't know exactly how many of these skins this guy has, we know there's a lot. And at this point, I think I've done my job demonstrating that this is the most expensive inventory to ever exist in CSGO, even if we don't know exactly how big it is. At this stage, I think it's a foregone conclusion. And that brings me on to why this guy is so bizarre. I mean, this is the biggest collection of rarest stuff in existence. Why isn't it better known? I mean, everyone's heard about Stack, but HFB blows him out of the water. Why don't you hear more about HFB? Why isn't there a whole series of YouTube videos on him? Why aren't people constantly bringing the guy up? Why is it that only the most hardcore skin collectors seem to know about him? Well, the reality is, there appears to have been a bit of a cover-up by the people that know him. So I was able to get in contact with a source, a really OG source that a lot of people here would recognise, who told me who HFB is and who his middlemen were. The reason I can't disclose either of those things was that source only told me this stuff on the condition I wouldn't make it public. Now, you might say to that, well, it's just one guy, is he even trustworthy? But this is actually a pattern of behaviour when it comes to HFB. For one, McSkillet actually has a video on HFB. Who really owns the most expensive CSGO inventory? That's where this screenshot came from, by the way, but you wouldn't know it's about HFB unless someone told you, because McSkillet doesn't actually say whose inventory he's looking at. He doesn't say his name, he doesn't show his profile, he completely obscures who he's dealing with. And Roffle, another guy who, at the very least, traded with HFB's middleman back in the day, is pretty close-lipped as well. Quote, he doesn't want the attention, and that's understandable, it's not a big deal. Now, I'm not going to criticize someone for respecting someone else's privacy, that's laudable, but this is a skins community, and it's kind of shocking that there hasn't been at least one shitbag out there who hasn't let all the secrets out. And I used to wonder whether dealing with these guys was so profitable that the counterparties were perfectly happy to maintain their silence. I still think that might be part of the story, but there's also another piece of the puzzle in Roffle's message here. Quote, fun fact, I once got threatened with a lawsuit by them. Yes, apparently HFB was a bit litigious, and given who was running the account, there were definitely reasons why you'd want to take him seriously too. And while I'm sure there was plenty of carrot involved as well as the stick, this guy managed to successfully orchestrate a bit of a conspiracy of silence around himself, a conspiracy that continues to this very day. And by the way, fun fact, another skin in HFB's inventory is the one-of-a-kind glitch Steam support Karambit, the only skin with a float value of 0. Kind of cool. But anyway, we've seen the kind of skins HFB has, we've seen how, one way or another, he strong-armed the people around him into keeping his identity a secret. The main question we're left with is where the guy is now. And on that point, as it turns out, it appears he's been mostly inactive for years. That was the opinion of the source I spoke to, and that was the opinion of McSkillet, even when he made a video on the guy about 3 years ago. And from what I've heard, his inventory may have been broken up and partially given to one of his middlemen, although it's hard to know because that guy has a private account as well. Now, I've scoured the databases trying to look for any evidence HFB might have resumed buying stuff, and although there are a lot of more recent items that have gone missing, there's nothing concrete tying it to HFB. I couldn't find any evidence he's become active again. He may well have left for good. Now, perhaps one day that middleman might sell off what they own of his inventory, but given what I know about HFB, I think it's much more likely that those skins are gonna be lost forever. But, CSGO is 8 years old at this point. What is an 8-year-old game without some hidden secrets and lost treasures? The Legend of HFB is just another one of them. The most expensive inventory in CSGO that no one's ever seen. Anyway, that's pretty much it for this video. If you enjoyed it, please like, comment, subscribe, and a big thank you to CS Money for sponsoring this channel. CS Money is a marketplace where you can buy and sell skins. It's quick, it's easy, it's safe. Either deposit skins on the site to get some balance, or you can deposit using a variety of payment methods and get a 25% bonus. It also has a bunch of cool features like an item wiki and a 3D skin inspect feature, which are both really cool, so I recommend checking it out. Link is in the description. Otherwise, trust the numbers, not your guts. I'm Jesus. Thanks for watching. See ya.